but it's not 7 o'clock yet. Oh. Well, the Saskatoon Berries have been doing it by a progression this season. After losing their opening game of the year, they won 7 in a row. Then they lost. Then they won 8 in a row. Then they lost. And now they've won 8 in a row. And if they win tonight, it'll be 9 in a row in the progression. 7, 8, 9. Yeah, that's what we're looking at here tonight for the Saskatoon Berries as they get set to play host to the Moose Jaw Miller Express here at Next Gen Patch at Cairns Field. I'm Les Lyasrick. Welcome to our broadcast tonight on FloCollege. Berries with a record of 23 wins, 3 losses. First place in the East Division. They've won 8 straight, as mentioned. 9-1 in their last 10. 14-0 here at the Next Gen Patch at Cairns Field. And 2-0 head-to-head against the Moose Jaw Miller Express, who come in with a record of 12 wins and 15 losses. They're 4th place in the East Division. 3-7 in their last 10. 7-8 on the road. Michael Saul is the starting pitcher tonight for the Berries, decked out in their baby blue alternate jerseys at home, and taking on the Moose Jaw Miller Express with the goldy orange type of tops and gray pants. And leading it off is Thomas Soto, the shortstop. Michael Saul with the first pitch is in there for strike 1 at 7:01 on Wednesday evening, July 2nd. 1 strike pitch. Soto on the ground, second baseman. Up with it is Abian Medina. On to first baseman Ethan Menard, and there is 1 away. So nicely underway here. William Edwards, the center fielder, coming up. Right-handed hitter. For the Berries defensively, around the outfield, as Michael Saul delivers the first pitch. Edwards looks at a pitch down low, ball 1. Mark Clark is the home plate umpire tonight. At first base is Blake Tilley. Inside, 2-0 to Edwards. And at third base is the crew chief, Aaron Roberts. 3-man crew in the Western Canadian Baseball League. 2-0 pitches right down the gut, 2-1. In right field tonight for the Berries is Evan Janner. Carter Beck in center. Jalen Freeman in left field as that one's down low, and it's now 3-1. Austin Gurney, the first baseman, on deck. Eduardo Saenz, the third baseman, is the cleanup hitter in the hole. 3-1 pitch taken in on the inside corner, and a full count. Around the infield, Mason Rell is at third, Nathan Houston at shortstop, Abian Medina at second, Ethan Menard at first. That one is into right field, a base hit for William Edwards on the 3-2 pitch. So the Miller Express get a hit and have a man on base. It'll bring up the first baseman, Austin Gurney. Gurney's a left-handed hitter, veteran of this league. Out of Campbell River, BC, coming off his senior year at Pikeville. A toss over to first to check on William Edwards, who has 10 stolen bases. Been caught stealing just once. He does not lead the Miller Express in steals. Ben Wallachek has 14. the second baseman, as that first pitch is down low, and a ball to Austin Gurney. Hit in the air to right field, going back, Evan Janner. He'd make the catch and get the ball back to the infield. First base, the runner on first, Edwards, will retreat to the bag. Well struck by Gurney, but Janner moving back and able to track the fly ball and make the catch. Your weather conditions tonight. It's starting to cloud over a bit. Partly cloudy is what they're saying at the airport. 28 degrees Celsius at game time. Wind out of the east-southeast gusting to 45 kilometers per hour. There is weather approaching from the southwest. We'll see if it splits off and misses us, as it tends to do here at this ballpark for whatever reason. As the first pitch down low, ball one to Eduardo Sainz. 2 away here in the top of the first inning. Called strike with a breaking pitch on the outside corner. Now, there's a game that has been taken off of the stats because there's some technical problems with it, and it happens to be a game between these two teams earlier this year. Here goes Edwards off and running. Sorensen double clutches and doesn't make a throw. So Edwards steals second. And a ball is called on Eduardo Sainz, the third baseman. The reason why I bring up the lack of the game being on the record now in the Western Canadian Baseball League on the website, and with Point Streak also, is that there are some technical issues with that game, and they're redoing some stuff with it as Saul takes a step off the rubber and Edwards returns to the bag. So all stats from that game are not in the system. So not all the batting averages or ERAs are quite accurate for these two teams, as there's a called strike on Sainz, another breaking pitch from Michael Saul. You'll really notice it with Carter Beck. That game was back on June the 6th in Moose Jaw. The Berries won 22-4. Carter Beck had 3 home runs that game. He's got 5 for the season, but according to the website, it's only 2 right now. Breaking pitch down low, according to home plate umpire Mark Clark, and it's a full count to Eduardo Sainz. So stats that we quote tonight may not necessarily be as accurate as they possibly can be because of that one missed game, and that's on both sides now. Strike 3 called as Sainz check swing, thought it was up and away, and home plate umpire Mark Clark rings him up. Strikeout number 1 of the night for Michael Saul. No runs, 1 hit for Moose Jaw in the top of the first inning. No Berries errors, 1 runner left on base. We are underway here at Next Gen Patch at Cairns Field, as it is scoreless between Saskatoon and Moose Jaw. You're watching Berries baseball on FloCollege. Bottom of the first inning upcoming here at Next Gen Patch at Cairns Field. Saskatoon Berries coming up to bat. They'll face the Moose Jaw starting pitcher tonight in Rodolfo Guardiola. Rodolfo Guardiola is from Laredo, Texas. Attends Texas A&M International, 6'3", 210-pound right-handed pitcher. And he'll face the top of the Berries order. Carter Beck, the center fielder, Ethan Menard at first base, and Abiam Medina at second as Mark Clark calls strike one on a high pitch up in the zone to Carter Beck. And as I mentioned, the stats are a little wonky because of that missed game. Breaking pitch inside, Beck able to hold up, didn't swing, 1 ball, 1 strike. So according to the website, Carter Beck's hitting .370, 27 hits and 73 at-bats, 2 home runs and 14 RBIs, but that's not right. He's got 5 home runs as he fouls that pitch back into the screen, 1-2. Beck out of Cardiff, Saskatchewan. Southeast of Regina. Closer to Weyburn than anywhere else in the league. Beavers will be here tomorrow, pitching the dirt from Guardiola. It's 2-2. Beck, of course, last year's Western Canadian Baseball League Rookie of the Year and Top Canadian and the All-Star Game MVP. Need I go on as he hits a fly ball into left center field, but tracking over is the center fielder William Edwards, and he'll make the catch. So 1 away here in the bottom of the first inning. It'll bring up Ethan Menard, the first baseman, who had a heck of a weekend. 8 for 10 back on Saturday and Sunday combined in Medicine Hat with 5 home runs, and he added another round tripper on Monday night here at Next Gen Patch at Cairns Field as the Berries beat the Regina Red Sox 12-10. Last night, though, in Regina, or yesterday in Regina, it was a matinee game. He was 0 for 5 against the Red Sox. From Opelousas, Louisiana, off-speed pitch in for a strike, 1-1. Now, Menard's totals, according to the website, .424 average, 25 for 59, 7 home runs, 21 RBI. That's pretty close to being right. 1-1 pitch, breaking ball in there for a strike. 1-2. Guardiola is making his 7th appearance of the season and his 6th start. 2 wins, 1 loss, a 4.44 earned run average as Menard hammers a single right back through the middle and into center field for a base hit. Took a big turn at first base, but will retreat to the bag as up comes Abiam Medina, the second baseman. Medina, according to the stats page, .418 on the season, 28 hits and 67 at-bats, a couple of home runs, and 18 RBI for the product of Ponce, Puerto Rico. On the ground to first, Gurney will turn and throw to second, get one, back to first, not in time. Medina able to leg it out. That wasn't a very hard hit ball to the first baseman, Gurney, so they're able to get, well, they called him out. Oh, my goodness. Well, call it a double play. 4-6 or 3-6-3. I'm shocked at that. That one looked like he was safe by quite a few steps. But it's the end of the inning, according to the umpires. So no runs, 1 hit, no Moose Jaw errors, and nobody left on base. After 1 here at Next Gen Patch at Cairns Field, it's the Saskatoon Berries nothing, the Moose Jaw Miller Express nothing, as you're watching Barrie's Baseball on FloCollege. Ready to go at the top of the second inning here in Saskatoon. Scoreless between the Berries and the Moose Jaw Miller Express. Jackson Yeager, the DH. Tanner DeGrazia, the right fielder, and Gustavo Soto, the catcher, due up this half inning against pitcher Michael Saul. Saul making his 6th appearance of the season and his 3rd start. First pitch in for a strike at the knees on Jackson Yeager. Saul's record 1-0, 1.31 earned run average. That one's down low, 1-1. Saul's pitched 13 2/3 innings, allowed 6 hits, 3 runs, just 2 of them earned. Ground ball wide of third base, foul. Off the bat of Yeager, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Saul has 16 strikeouts in 13 2/3 innings and walked 5. His last outing was back on June 25th. Fouled off and staying alive is Jackson Yeager, 1-2. That was last Wednesday, in fact, a week ago. Saul pitched 5 innings in a 6-5. Regina Wind did not get the decision, as that's fouled back to the screen, and Yeager continuing to spoil and battle here against Michael Saul. That was a good night for Saul. 5 shutout innings, 3 hits allowed, 3 strikeouts. He's come out of the bullpen now to become a starting pitcher for the Berries. Saul from Omaha, Nebraska. 1-2 pitch. Swing on. It bounced in the dirt, so Sorensen will have to throw on to first to complete the out. And that's strikeout number 2. 2-3 on the putout. Strikeout number 2 for Saul, and 1 away here in the top of the second inning. It'll bring up right fielder Tanner DeGrazia. DeGrazia. First pitch is on the inside corner, a strike. DeGrazia hitting .299. Breaking pitch stays up high, ball 1, 1-1. DeGrazia is the right fielder tonight. Breaking pitch is on the outside corner, strike 2, 1-2. He's from Rochester, New York, coming off his junior season at Pomona College. Right-hand hitter, swing and a miss, strike 3. That's 2 away here in the inning and 3 strikeouts in a row for Michael Saul. So now Gustavo Soto, the catcher, coming to the plate. He's hitting .231 is Soto, 9 for 39 on the year, 7 runs batted in. First pitch, a check swing is a called strike. Gustavo Soto from Ciudad Juarez, Mexico. That one's down low, ball 1-1. 2 away in the top of the second inning. Scoreless, Berries and Moose Jaw Miller Express. Breaking pitch down low, 2-1. Pacey Phillips, the left fielder, is on deck. 2-1 pitch hit in the air. This one is slicing, going foul, and it will land fouled just around the Berries bullpen area. 2 balls and 2 strikes. It's hard to know what the way the wind is actually blowing here tonight on the flags atop the right field fence. It's supposed to be from the southeast, according to that. East-southeast, actually. So I guess it's starting to come in from right field more so than anything else. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Saul strikes out the side here in the top of the second inning. No runs, no hits, no Berries errors, nobody left on base for the Moose Jaw Miller Express. After an inning and a half, it is Saskatoon nothing and Moose Jaw nothing as you're watching Berries baseball on FloCollege. Eight, 7. So to bottom of the second inning upcoming. Rodolfo Guardiola, the starting pitcher for the Moose Jaw Miller Express, waiting for his catcher Gustavo Soto, who made the last out, to come back out and start receiving warm-up tosses from him. He'll face the middle third of the Berries order. Catcher Balin Sorensen, shortstop Nathan Houston, and third baseman Mason Rell. After the Berries got a hit in the bottom of the first inning and then had it erased on a double play, and somewhat controversial because everybody up here in the booth was hunched over getting ready to say that Medina was on first, having beaten out the relay throw, and the umpire said, no, you're out. And it looked like he was at least a stride, if not 2, safe, but them's the breaks. So Sorensen up, batting cleanup tonight against Guardiola. And a first pitch inside, ball 1. Balin Sorensen hitting .277 minus the 1 game in Moose Jaw. Hits a line drive to left field, well hit, and it is bounces off the wall in center field. Sorensen will make his way into second. A leadoff double, and that for Sorensen is his 11th double of the year. I have to think he's among the league leaders in that department in the league. When in doubt, go to the website and see what we can find here. Let's see. Doubles. Bang. He now is the league leader. Nope, sorry. Second behind the guy in center field for Moose Jaw, Mr. William Edwards. Nathan Houston, a former member of the Miller Express. Last year in an AP the year before that, is at bat. Looks at a first pitch ball, 1-0. Berries with a runner on second. trying to get the scoring started in this one. Down low on a breaking pitch to Houston, 2-0. Nathan Houston hitting .344, 32 hits and 93 at-bats. 19 RBI for the Melville, Saskatchewan product, who went to Martin Collegiate in Regina for his high school. Takes a pitch up and away, strike one. I will say this about Mark Clark, his strike zone has been consistent. It's only 2 innings old, so it's hard to know for sure, but so far, so good. And now Guardiola will step off. Sorensen was meandering a little too far off the base in his mind. Again, you don't have to throw the ball to second or third when coming off the pitching rubber. But first base, you must. Houston on the ground into the hole at shortstop. Soto can't backhand it. And it's an infield hit, I'd have to think, for Nathan Houston. So Mason Rell coming to the plate. Nobody out. Base hit for Nathan Houston. First and third, nobody out. On the ground towards second. A bad hop, knocked down by the second baseman, who's able to recover. Ben Wallachuk able to throw out Mason Rell. Balin Sorensen scores from third, and Nathan Houston advances to second. But that second hop went up on the second baseman, Wallachuk, and he did well to block it and then catch the rebound off his body and make the play on Rell at first. But the Berries go up 1-0 with that. And up to the plate is Evan Janner, the right fielder. And pitcher Guardiola steps off. Janner from New Braunfels, Texas. Fouls the first pitch back into the screen, strike one. Janner hitting .282. 11 hits and 39 at-bats. A couple of home runs and 10 RBI for the left-handed hitter, who's gone to school the last couple of years at the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley, and Brownsville, Texas. On the ground towards first, Gurney bobbles it, will toss to first. Janner dives to the bag, but is out on the play as the pitcher Guardiola covers, and Houston makes his way over to third. With 2 away now in the bottom of the second inning. So Ethan Murdoch, the designated hitter, now up. Murdoch from Swift Current has played his college ball at McCook Community College in Nebraska and at Marshall University in Huntington, West Virginia. First pitch is inside, ball one. Runner on third with 2 out. Guardiola holds the ball for a second, and then that one's in down low, ball 2, blocked by the catcher Soto. Houston holds where he is at third base, hoping to come in with a second Berries run here in the bottom of the second inning. Guardiola shakes off the sign from the catcher first. Now is okay with what he's going to throw. 2-0 pitch, hammered to left field, but he got around on that one and put it way out into the parking lot, and I think he bounced one off of a car out there. 2 balls and a strike. Murdoch has 5 home runs. 2-1 pitch is down low, 3-1. Murdoch hitting .274, 23 hits and 84 at-bats. And then gets hit by a pitch as the off-speed delivery from Guardiola didn't break. And so Murdoch will take first. First and third, runners on the corners with 2 away, and the number 9 hitter, Jalen Freeman, the left fielder, coming up. Freeman hitting .263, 20 hits and 76 at-bats. 11 runs batted in, and signals being relayed from the dugout to the catcher, Soto, and now to everybody else, what they're going to do in case Murdoch decides to take off from first to second. Are they going to throw through with 2 away? I would bet so, as Freeman fouls the first pitch back, strike 1. General rule of thumb is if it's less than 2 outs and your runner's on first and third and the guy from first takes off, you might think about not throwing through, or at least cutting it off if the ball does go through in case that runner on third takes off for home. But with 2 out, you might be willing to take your stab at the guy going from first to second, as there's a called strike on the outside corner, and quickly Jalen Freeman's behind 2 strikes to Rodolfo Guardiola. Barry's with a run in. Couple of hits, and now a hit batsman. Murdoch bluffs going. Pitch down low. Blocked by the catcher, Soto. 1-2 the count. Jalen Freeman back in the left-hand batter's box. 2-1 or 1-2 pitch upcoming. Murdoch takes off. Freeman hits it up the middle. Shortstop Soto up with it on to first in time to get Jalen Freeman. And the Berries are retired in the bottom of the second inning. Good defensive play by the shortstop Thomas Soto to throw out Speedy Freeman going up the line. The Berries get a run on 2 hits. There were no Moose Jaw errors and 2 runners left on base. After 2 innings, it is Saskatoon 1, Moose Jaw no score. You're watching Berries baseball on FloCollege. So Michael Saul back out for the top of the third inning, the starting pitcher for the Saskatoon Berries. Unofficially has thrown 31 pitches through 2 innings. He'll face the number 8, 9, and 1 hitters for the Moose Jaw Miller Express here in the top of the third. Number 8 hitter is the left fielder Pacey Phillips. Left-handed hitter. First pitch on the outside corner for a strike, as called by home plate umpire Mark Clark. Pacey Phillips from Robert, Saskatchewan. Hour and a bit, almost 2 hours west of here. Highway 51. Took a pitch outside from Saul, 1-1. Saul ready to deliver. 1-1 pitch is in there for a strike. 1-2. Pacey Phillips coming off his freshman year at Bismarck State. 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball stays outside. 2-2. This is only Phillips' second game that he's played. One at bat, and he had a hit, but he strikes out there, so the average is going to go from 1,000 to 500, as that's 5 straight strikeouts for Michael Saul. Ben Wallachek, the second baseman, coming up now. Wallachek hitting .304, 21 hits and 69 at-bats, 6 RBIs. Wallachek's from Wichita, Kansas, coming off his junior season at Indiana State. Hey, he knows some guys on the Berries as he takes a first pitch strike. Berries players from Wichita State are third baseman Mason Rell, center fielder Carter Beck, and relief pitcher Zach Laird. And a called strike again on the outside corner to Wallachek, so he's behind quickly to Saul. 2 strikes. Saul ready to go again. That one bounces in front of the plate. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Top of the order, Thomas Soto, the shortstop, is on deck for Moose Jaw. Saul going through the order once already. Breaking ball, check swing. They'll appeal. Nope. First base umpire Blake Tilley says no swing. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Wallachek, a right-handed hitter. 5'10", 171 pounds. Again, a breaking ball, and it's down low and bounces. And a full count now, suddenly. Wallachek was behind 2 strikes. Saul looked like he had things pretty much going his way, but hasn't been able to find the strike zone since. Now, a full count pitch. Strike 3 called on the inside corner. He's rung up by home plate umpire Mark Clark. That's 6 straight strikeouts for Michael Saul. And 2 away here in the top of the 3rd inning. And up comes Thomas Soto, who, second pitch of the ball game, grounded out to the second baseman, A.B.M. Medina. Bluffs a bunt, takes a strike. Soto hitting .316 coming into the game. 31 hits in 98 at-bats, a couple of home runs and 14 RBI. Breaking pitch down low and in, ball 1. Don't mean to alarm anybody, but to the north, it looks pretty good. To the south, not so well. Soto on the ground. Medina scoops it up at second, throws on to first. And that's the end of the inning. Another 3 up, 3 down frame for the Moose Jaw Miller Express against the Saskatoon Berries and Michael Saul. No runs, no hits, no Berries errors, nobody left on base. 2.5 incomplete here at Next Gen Patch at Cairns Field. The Berries lead 1-0 as you're watching Saskatoon Berries baseball on FloCollege. As I started to say in the top of the 3rd inning, it's starting to get a little cloudy out to the south and southwest. However, looking at radar, what I'm seeing is kind of moving off to the south and east. Not going to hit here, but there is another set of cells that are starting to bear down, but they're not expected to arrive here. The last I can get is 9:05, and they're not here yet at 9:05. So it may be late in the ball game if we get rain, if at all. We'll cross our fingers that it holds off. In the meantime, Carter Beck leading off for the Berries in the bottom of the third inning against Rodolfo Guardiola. First pitch is down low and away, ball one. Beck flew out to center to lead off the ball game for the Berries offensively. Pitch is down low, 2-0. Started to do the defensive alignment for Moose Jaw, never did get it done. Tanner DeGrazia is in right field, William Edwards in center, Pacey Phillips in left. To Hopper, taken at second base and thrown on to first to retire Beck as Ben Wallachek makes the play. Around the infield, it's Eduardo Saenz at third base. Thomas Soto's the shortstop, second baseman Ben Wallachek, and the first baseman Austin Gurney. Gustavo Soto is the catcher, and Rodolfo Guardiola is the pitcher tonight for the Moose Jaw Miller Express. As Ethan Menard comes to the plate. Singled his first time up. Curveball is in for a strike. High in the zone, but still considered a strike by home plate umpire Mark Clark. Swing and a miss on a fastball. 2 strikes now on Menard. 7 home runs for him. That's tied for the league lead as he has another base hit in between first and second into right field. Ethan Menard is 2 for 2 tonight. It'll bring up Abiam Medina, who grounded into a double play that nobody still believes was actually a double play back in the first inning. Only in the minds of the umpires was that the case. And in the minds of the Moose Jaw Miller Express, they said, yeah, you're right. Good call, ump. Inside to Medina, ball 1. Mentioned Medina from Ponce, Puerto Rico. Fouls a pitch off at the plate, 1-1. Catcher Balin Sorensen on deck for the Berries here in the bottom of the third inning. Medina's played a couple of college seasons at the Texas A&M International, where he's hit .380 combined over 2 seasons. Swing and a miss on an off-speed pitch. Now a throw back towards first. Wide of the mark, down the right field line. Menard gets up after diving into the bag. He's around second and heading for third as the ball is thrown back towards third base. Catcher Gustavo Soto thought that Menard was getting a little bit too big of a secondary lead and tried to throw from his knees towards first base. But he threw it wide of the mark down in foul territory, and Austin Gurney, the first baseman, could not flag it down. Down the right field line into the Berries bullpen it went, and Menard is all the way around to third base on the error with 1 out. 1-2 the count on Medina, and he'll pop it up foul out of play. Berries 90 feet away from getting a second run here. First error of the ball game by either side belongs to Moose Jaw. Guardiola takes the sign from Gustavo Soto, his catcher. 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Ball bounces away. And the throw on to first in time to get Medina as they checked on Menard to make sure he wasn't able to advance. That's a big strikeout For Rodolfo Guardiola, his first of the ball game, means the Berries have 2 out now, and Balin Sorensen with the opportunity to bring in the Berries' second run. If he can here, he'll have to do it with just 2 outs, though. Guardiola came into the inning with 28 pitches thrown. Sorensen up to the right side. That's through for a base hit, and it's 2-0 as Menard scores from third base. RBI for Sorensen will unofficially be his 14th of the season. Again, unofficially, because I don't know how many he had that night in the 22-4 victory for the Berries in Moose Jaw back on June 6th, the game that is no longer in the records of the Western Canadian Baseball League. Up comes Nathan Houston to bat for a second time in the ball game. Guardiola's first pitch is up and away, ball 1. Houston singled back in the second inning. Got his average up around 350 on the year. Breaking ball down low, appeal at first on a check swing and do not get it. It's 2-0 now, the count on the product of Melville, who will be attending Louisiana Tech University. And that one's inside 3-0. Houston will attend Louisiana Tech University this next winter season or college season after being at Arizona Western College the last 2 years. 3-0, Guardiola's behind Houston here with a runner on first and 2 away. And that's outside ball 4, a 4-pitch walk. Sorensen will move up to second. And the Berries have a couple of men on here with 2 away. And we're going to get a visit to the mound from pitching coach Dustin Mulliken, assuming that is him. I'll have to have a look. It doesn't look like Dustin. Probe, a lot taller than that. Of course, the son of Doug Mulliken. His uncle is Lauren, a former GM and head coach of the Saskatoon Blades. But that don't look like Dustin Mulliken. That may very well be the head coach, Eric Marriott, who came out to have a chat. Yeah, that's not Dustin. That's just a kind of a reminder from the head coach to the pitcher, Guardiola. Throw strikes, pal. You've got defense behind you because nobody's warming up down the left field line. You're the guy right now. Get out of this. Mason Reld at the plate. Grounded out to second his first time up. Drove in the run, though, that got the Berries on the board last inning. Puts this one on the ground. Gurney will field it wide of the bag. Flips over to Guardiola covering. And that will be now the end of the inning. But another run on the board for the Saskatoon Berries in the top of the third inning. On 2 hits, there was 1 Moose Jaw error and 2 runners left on base. We've played 3 complete here at Next Gen Patch at Cairns Field. It is the Saskatoon Berries 2 and the Moose Jaw Miller Express no scores. You're watching Berries Baseball on FloCollege. So through 3 innings of play, the line score is the Saskatoon Berries, 2 runs on 5 hits, no errors committed, and they've left 4 runners on base. For the Moose Jaw Miller Express, no runs on 1 hit. They've committed 1 error, and they've left 1 runner on base. Michael Saul back out for the top of the 4th inning. He'll face William Edwards, the only man who has a hit against him so far, the only base runner for Moose Jaw so far. So since that single, Michael Saul has retired 8 in a row, 6 of them by strikeout. William Edwards, the center fielder, first baseman Austin Gurney, and the third baseman Eduardo Sainz for Moose Jaw here in the top of the 4th inning. Edwards unofficially came into the game hitting .364. First pitch on the inside corner, strike 1 from Michael Saul. Edwards with 40 hits and 110 at-bats, 3 home runs, 22 runs batted in. Off-speed breaking pitch, down low, ball 1, 1-1. Edwards also steals bases, has 10 of them on the year, so he's got a few tools in the arsenal. Low again from Saul, 2 balls, 1 strike. The 2-1 pitch is fouled, wide of third base. 2-2 the count. Edwards from New South Wales, Australia, you know. Fouls off the 2-2, spoils that breaking pitch that he was basically fooled on. Stays alive. Coming off his junior year at the University of Sioux Falls. Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And fouls off another pitch, this one into the Miller Express dugout. Sioux Falls, home of the Canaries. Remember going there a few times back in the 1994 Northern League season with the Winnipeg Goldeyes. Saul tried to throw a little extra into that fastball and threw it past Balin Sorensen to the backstop. It's a full count on William Edwards. Nice ballpark in Sioux Falls. I remember having to do 3 5-inning games one night there because of rainouts. That's down low, ball 4. So after having a couple of strikes on Edwards, loses them, and he's on base for a second time tonight. Austin Gurney, the first baseman now. He comes into the game hitting .400, 44 hits and 110 at-bats, 31 runs batted in. That's a pretty fair number. It's tops in the Western Canadian Baseball League, in fact. No home runs, though. 31 RBIs. Single doubles hitter. First pitch swinging, fouls it out of play. Strike 1. Gurney has 10 doubles and a triple among his 44 hits. Edwards at first, a threat to steal. Gurney hits this one into right field. It will get down, a base hit. Edwards, with good speed, will turn the bag at second and make his way into third as the throw was cut off in the infield by shortstop Nathan Houston. And so just like that, trailing 2-0, Moose Jaw has 2 runners on base, runners on first and third with their second hit of the ball game. Eduardo Sainz, the third baseman, coming up. Struck out in the first inning. The first of 6 in a row recorded by Michael Saul as he finished off his first time through the order. Now it's second time through, and everybody on the Miller Express has a pretty good idea of what Michael Saul's about. Hit right back to the mound. Saul throws home. They've got Edwards hung up between third and home. The throw to third. Mason Rell will place the tag on him. And a good job by the Berries. Saul at first wheeled as if he was going to throw to second base and start a double play. And then he heard Balin Sorensen go, "Whoa, home, home," as Edwards was creeping down the line. And they were able to get him in the hot box and prevented Gurney from advancing to third base in the process. So it's a 1-2-5 out for the first out. And runners on first and second now. And a pitch in there for a strike to Jackson Yeager, the designated hitter. Yeager struck out his first time up back in the second inning. First and second. That one is down low, possibly inside, 1-1. Again, in our broadcast location, I can see right down the right field line. I'm down the third base side, not directly behind home plate. Signs puts a charge into this one into left field. Going back is Freeman. He leaps and he can't come up with it. One hops the fence. Gurney around second, heading for third. Now they'll throw back to first base, and they've got him. Yeager thought that the man in front of him, Signs, was going to be able to advance to third. Signs pulled up at second, and halfway between first and second base was Jackson Yeager, and the Berries were able to get the ball back to first in time to record an out. So that's 2 base running errors by Moose Jaw in this inning. They have a man on second. They do have a run home, though, now on the single by Jackson Yeager. And he again gets thrown out. 7-6-3 for the second out. And the first pitch now to Tanner DeGrazia, the right fielder, is a strike. A run on a couple of hits here in this inning for Moose Jaw, but they could have nobody out, really, if they ran the bases better. As DeGrazia hits a high fly ball into right field, drifting towards the line, but Evan Jander is there. He'll make the catch, and that's the inning. 1 run on 2 hits for Moose Jaw in the top of the 4th inning. There were no Berries errors, and 1 runner left on base after 3.5. It is the Saskatoon Berries 2 and the Moose Jaw Miller Express 1 as you're watching Berries baseball on FloCollege. Elsewhere around the Western Canadian Baseball League tonight, in the top of the 6th inning in Swift Current, the Regina Red Sox have a 9-0 lead on the 57s. That game started at 6:05. I believe there's a doubleheader there tonight at Mitchell Field in Swift Current. There's a second game listed starting at 7:05. Well, it's well past that. Bottom of the 3rd inning, Sylvan Lake at home leads Medicine Hat 3-0. And the bottom of the 2nd inning in Brooks, Okotoks leads the Bombers by a score of 4-2. That's elsewhere in the Western Canadian Baseball League tonight. Here in Saskatoon, 2-1 the Berries with the lead heading to the bottom of the 4th. Bottom 3rd of the order. And a first pitch strike to Evan Janner. That was high in the strike zone and on the outside corner. Rodolfo Guardiola, the pitcher. That one stays outside, ball 1. 1-1. Guardiola has an interesting release when throwing the baseball. It's not that smooth, fluid, over-the-top type of action. It's kind of a little herky-jerky, the arm kind of like a buggy whip. It comes from three-quarter overhand, but it's effective as he throws strike 2 to Evan Janner, who grounded out to the first baseman, Evan Gurney, who had to flip it over to Guardiola covering. He's had to do that twice to record outs so far in this game. Pitch down low, 2-2. Unofficially, Rodolfo Guardiola about to throw his 50th pitch of the game. That's on my count. He looks like he throws a knuckleball. 3-2. That last pitch, could see the seams pretty clearly. Interesting to see a knuckleballer in this league. 3-2 pitch. That's up and in with a fastball and a walk to lead off for Evan Janner. So now Ethan Murdoch coming to the plate. Murdoch's the DH tonight. He's played a lot of right field so far this year for the Berries. He was hit by a pitch back in the second inning. And Jalen Freeman, the left fielder, is on deck now. A throw over to first to check on Janner, who's not afraid to run. 8 stolen bases according to the stats line. I'm pretty sure he's at 10 though now. Janner leaning off of first, getting a big lead. First pitch is down, low, ball 1 to Ethan Murdoch. Guardiola stares in for the sign and will throw over to first. And that ball gets away from Gurney towards the fence, the boundary fence, and Janner will advance to second as the throw comes towards third base. Now, who do you call the error on there? Is it the pitcher's throw or is it the first baseman not catching the ball? That's the question I have. How about we flip a coin on that one? Flip a coin as to who gets the error, first baseman or pitcher? Pitcher, because it's at his feet. I like that reasoning. We'll go with that. Second error of the ball game, though, for Moose Jaw. Janner on second with nobody away. A 1-0 count on Ethan Murdoch. Up high, 2-0. Two-0 count on Ethan Murdoch. He played for his hometown team in this league in 2023. There's a called strike. Mark Clark has called strikes up high in the strike zone, up around the belt, up around the letters actually, all night long. So when fans behind home plate that don't like the call, get used to it. It's been consistent. That looks like that knuckler that stayed inside. 3-1. Back in 2023, Ethan Murdoch hit .333 for the Swift Current 57s, his hometown team. Hitting below 300 right now after a super start to the year for him. Outside ball 4. Back-to-back walks issued by Guardiola to start this inning. Nobody up throwing down the left field line in the Moose Jaw bullpen. Here in the bottom of the fourth, and Gustavo Soto, the catcher, is going to come out and chat with his pitcher. And in the meantime, some stirring coming out of the Moose Jaw third base dugout, heading towards the left field bullpen. And again, I believe this is head coach Eric Marriott coming out to have a word or two with catcher Gustavo Soto, and the entire infield now joins in the meeting And home plate umpire Mark Clark is out to the mound now to break it up. So let's go, boys. It's a nice night, but there's some threatening weather out there. Want to get the game in. Latest conditions show mostly cloudy skies now. 27 degrees Celsius. Winds out of the east-southeast gusting still to 45 kilometers an hour, but they seem to have died down a little bit here at the ballpark, a few kilometers straight south of the Saskatoon airport. Up comes Jalen Freeman now. And Freeman calls time. Grounded out to the shortstop, Thomas Soto, back in the second inning. Freeman came into the game at .263 with 11 runs batted in. Corner infielders creeping in, expecting a bunt. Freeman swings away and fouls it back to the screen, strike one. Freeman is a good bunter. In fact, it was his bunt that led directly to an extra inning win for the Berries back in June. Now throw, and Guardiola thought that there was a pickoff at second. Soto, the shortstop, had been dancing back and forth between his position and the base. And when Guardiola spun to throw, Soto was already back at shortstop, and he threw the ball to the second baseman, Wallachek, who was nowhere near the base. Luckily, he threw it there. Outside to Freeman, 1-1. I think right about now, the way Guardiola has handled runners on base, just concentrate on the guy at the plate. What happens, happens. Freeman on a 1-1 pitch. Outside, off the glove of the catcher Gustavo Soto. He's quick to pounce on it. And the runners do not advance. 2 balls, 1 strike on that outside pitch. No throwing as of yet by the pitcher down the left field line. He's doing his stretching before he starts throwing the baseball. We'll get you a number here for you in a moment. As Rodolfo Guardiola in the bottom of the 4th inning, struggling a little bit with his control. A couple of walks. 2-1, runners moving. Freeman, line drive into left center field. That will get all the way to the fence. Janner will score. Coming around third, heading for home is Ethan Murdoch. He will score a 2-run double for Jalen Freeman. And the Berries have a 4-0 lead here at home over the Moose Jaw Miller Express. A well-tagged line drive in between the center and left fielders into the gap. Hit number 6 of the night for the Berries. And 4 runs. And Freeman is on second. And Carter Beck, who's 0 for 2 in the game. Guardiola looking back at the runner at second. First pitch inside, ball 1. Warming up down the left field line is Jacob Glazner, a left-hander for Moose Jaw. 4-1 is the score, not 4-0. Moose Jaw did score a run in the top of the 4th. Pitch on the outside corner, strike 1 to Carter Beck. Two runs in with nobody out here in the bottom of the 4th as the Berries respond to the Moose Jaw run in the top of this inning. Now this one's hit in the air to right field. Over the head of the right fielder, and it'll short hop the fence. Freeman going to turn third and head for home, and he will score on the double by Carter Beck, and it's 5-1 now. Seventh hit of the night for the Berries, and I think a little more urgency going to be put into the work down the left field line. for Jacob Glazner. Ethan Menard to the plate now for the Berries. 2 for 2. He's got a couple of singles. One a line shot up the middle in the first inning and a grounder that got between first and second in the third. Takes a first pitch strike. Nobody out here in the bottom of the fourth. Guardiola checking on Beck at second base. 1 strike pitch is a high strike again. That's strike 2. They're still grumbling about it in behind home plate in the diamond seats. Folks, figure it out. That's what he's going to call all night long. Fans, I love him, said Bob Uecker once. God bless Ueck. Time called by Ethan Menard. Hard to believe he's gone now. Died just a short time ago, Bob Uecker. Baseball comic extraordinaire. He could actually play the game. He played in the majors. Swing and a miss. And that's strike 3. And there's a big out for Rodolfo Guardiola here. The first one registered in the bottom of the fourth inning. So ABM Medina now coming to the plate. Left-handed hitter. Look down at the Moose Jaw dugout. See if they're ready to make a move. Well, now it's the right-hander up throwing. So they've changed up their relief pitcher idea here. Beck leading off second. First pitch up high to Medina. Ball 1. ABM Medina grounded into a double play and struck out in the ball game. First 0 for 2 back in the first and third innings respectively. That pitch up high. 2-0. As that's Caden Noble now throwing down the left field line for the Moose Jaw Miller Express. Up and away, ball 3. Guardiola falling behind here to ABM Medina. You've got 3 straight right-handed hitters coming up for the Berries after Medina. I wouldn't be surprised if this is Guardiola's last batter that he faces. 3-0 pitch to Medina is up and away, ball 4. Third walk of the inning issued by the Moose Jaw starter. Well, obviously Noble's not ready to go from his warm-ups, as it looks like Guardiola's going to face Balin Sorensen, who's 2 for 2 tonight. Doubled and scored in the second inning, singled and drove in a run in the third. He was involved in the 2 runs that the Berries scored before this inning. And with 1 out, runners on first and second, he has a chance to do some more damage. Low and away, ball 1. Good stab by the catcher. The throw over the third, and they'll get Beck, who tried to advance to third base on the short ball away from the catcher, Gustavo Soto. So caught stealing for the second out. Medina holds at first. And it's 1 ball, no strikes on Balin Sorensen. Sorensen hits this one off the hands towards second base. Fielded there by the second baseman and thrown on to first to retire the side. But the Berries score 3 times in the bottom of the fourth on 2 hits. There was 1 Moose Jaw error and 1 runner left on base. After 4 complete here at Next Gen Patch at Cairns Field, it is the Saskatoon Berries 5, the Moose Jaw Miller Express 1. You're watching Berries baseball on FloCollege. Michael Saul back out for the top of the 5th inning for the Berries. He's got a 5-1 lead, and if he can get through this one still in the lead, and that lead holds throughout the rest of the night, it would be a pitching victory for Michael Saul. He unofficially has thrown 61 pitches through 4 innings, as he'll face Gustavo Soto, Pacey Phillips, and Ben Wallachek, the bottom third of the Moose Jaw order, all 3 of whom struck out against Michael Saul in either the 2nd inning in Gustavo Soto's case or the 3rd inning in the cases of Pacey Phillips and Ben Wallachek. First pitch, I should say, to Gustavo Soto is down low for ball 1. Top of the 5th inning here at Next Gen Patch Cairns Field. A couple of pitches out of the strike zone. 2-0 the count on Soto. Gustavo Soto, 7 RBI in the season. Takes a strike, 2-1. And now down the left field line, it's back to the left-hander throwing, Jacob Glazner. On the ground, 3 hops. Houston trying to come up with it, can't. And Gustavo Soto will reach on an error to the shortstop, Nathan Houston. That was a well-hit ball by Gustavo Soto, and Houston couldn't put the grab on it. So now Pacey Phillips to the plate. Robert Saskatchewan product is 0 for 1 with a strikeout. Gustavo Soto, no stolen bases, takes a lead. Phillips tries to lay down a bunt and fouls it off, strike 1. I think I saw some lightning off to the east. But again, that's off to the east. That's bias. That ain't going to come into play. 1 strike pitch. Breaking ball inside, 1-1. Saul's 1-1 pitch. Phillips fouls it off, and that one's going to find its way into the parking lot down the left field side. Pretty decent crowd on a Wednesday night here at Next Gen Patch at Cairns Field. We'll get an attendance figure in the latter stages of the night. Phillips swinging bunt up the first base line. Sorensen trying to let it go foul, and it stops dead inside the foul line. So that'll be an infield hit for Pacey Phillips. Nobody out and runners on first and second. Sorensen thought initially about picking it up and trying to throw him out, but it would have been one of those plays where he'd had to have tried to throw around him. And in the end, tried to let it roll foul, and it didn't. So now Ben Wallachek is, Menard is on the grass at first, expecting a bunt, and the first pitch is up high, ball 1. Wallachek did not show bunt. Looks down at the third base coach to see whether something's on. Mason Rell, the third baseman, is on the edge of the infield grass. Menard has crept in about 10 feet off the grass. And a high strike called to Wallachek, 1-1. Top of the fifth inning, nobody out, 2 men on for Moose Jaw. Trying to battle back here in this game, trailing 5-1. Now he shows bunt and pulls back and takes a strike. 1-2, so the bunt's now off, you'd have to think. Bunt the second, strike foul, and you're out. Wallachek crouched down in the plate, swings and fouls it off, stays alive. That's a good spoil there from the diminutive second baseman for the Moose Jaw Miller Express. Gain came into the game hitting .304. A couple of doubles. He has a triple. He's also walked 25 times. So a good eye. It fouls another pitch off. 1-2 still. There's people helping around on the right field bullpen by the Berries, but no activity as far as throwing or catching or anything like that. You're just watching what Michael Saul is doing here in the top of the fifth inning, hoping he can get through it with a lead. 1-2 count again on Ben Wallachek. This one bounces and gets past Sorensen all the way to the backstop, and everybody will advance 90 feet on the wild pitch. Soto to third, Pacey Phillips to second. 2-2 the count. And Saul takes the throw just in front of the home plate and strides back to the mound, trying to settle himself down and find an out here. He has 6 strikeouts. A seventh one would come up handy here. And this one gets away again, all the way to the backstop, and in to score is Gustavo Soto. Pacey Phillips advances to third. So now it's 5-2 as back-to-back wild pitches for Michael Saul has allowed Moose Jaw to score a run. Still nobody out, and now a full count on Ben Wallachek. And that 3-2 pitch is low and a walk. So Wallachek on his way to first. Still nobody out, and here comes head coach Joe Carnahan out of the Berries dugout to chat with Michael Saul, catcher Balin Sorensen, and the entire infield. Wallachek, who has 14 stolen bases, nobody out. Again, I would expect the Berries not to throw through, or at least cut off the throw short of the bag, rather than try to catch him stealing in case the runner on third, Pacey Phillips, decides to try to come home. Meanwhile, a guy who's pretty good with the bat, the leadoff man, Thomas Soto, coming up now for Moose Jaw. Thomas Soto with a couple of ground outs to the second baseman, Abian Medina, so far in the game. A second run in the inning and a third of the game for Moose Jaw, just 90 feet away. Taking off is Wallachek. Sorensen with the throw down, not in time, and the runner on third, Phillips, holds. So Wallachek steals cleanly on a high pitch. It's ball one. So now Soto has 2 ducks on the pond. A chance to drive him in. That's down low. 2-0. Down the right field line now we see activity in the Berries bullpen. 2-0 pitch. Fouled off at the plate, off the leg of Soto. That's smarts. 2-1. Believe that's Carter Kopp who's warming up down the right field line for the Berries. It is. Number 39, one of the Saskatoon contingent on the Berries. "5-2, run in, and runners on second and third, and still nobody out here in the bottom of the fifth for Moose Jaw. Michael Saul grinding, trying to get it out. That one, though, is low, and a good backhand stop by Sorensen. 3-1. Saul has lost his command of the strike zone here in the fifth inning. A walk, a couple of wild pitches. That's ball 4. And now the bases are loaded. It'll be William Edwards, the center fielder, who's been on base both times tonight. Singled and stole a base in the first inning. Walked, got all the way around to third, and then got caught in the rundown. Michael Saul bounces that one in, blocked by Sorensen off of the batter, and the ball stays in the batter's box area. Ball 1. Michael Saul having troubles finding the strike zone here at the bottom of the fifth. Attended University of Nebraska at Omaha. Here's a swing and a foul ball into the parking lot down the left field side, third base side. 1-1 the count. Bases loaded, nobody out for Moose Jaw. 1-1 pitch on the ground. Taken at third by Rell. Throw home for 1, and then the transfer of the ball into the hand. Losing it is Sorensen, so they'll get the 1 out at home on the fielder's choice by William Edwards. Soto up to second. Ben Wallachek at third. Pacey Phillips is out at home for the first out. Austin Gurney, the first baseman now, flew to right his first time up. Singled and scored last inning for Moose Jaw, their first run of the game. And again, a good left-handed hitter. Saul, first pitch. This one's looped into right field. That one is going to fall. 1 run is coming home. 2 runs are going to come home as Soto is right behind the first man who scored, Ben Wallachek. And it's a 5-4 ball game. Coming around to third base is William Edwards on the 2-run single by Austin Gurney. Suddenly it's a 1-run game, and that's going to be all for Joe Carnahan. As Carter Kopp's going to come into the ball game for the Saskatoon Berries. An error, a single, a couple of walks, a fielder's choice, and a single for 6 batters here in the 5th inning for Moose Jaw. 1 away only. 3 runs in, and 2 men on base, still the responsibility of Michael Saul. 5-4 the score in favor of Saskatoon. And Carter Kopp into the game. Couple of RBIs for Austin Gurney, give him 33 on the year. So Carter Kopp in. Saskatoon product as mentioned. He's coming off his junior year at St. Xavier University. 5'10", 170-pound right-hander. So Kopp will take his warm-up tosses before pitching. He'll face Moose Jaw's number 4 hitter, the cleanup man, Eduardo Sainz. First up for him. For Carter Kopp, suffered a hand injury earlier in the season that kept him out of action for a bit. This will be his 6th appearance of the year. No decisions, a 2.07 earned run average. 4 1/3 innings pitched. He's allowed 5 hits, 3 runs, 1 earned. Struck out 4 and walked 2. Right-handed pitcher Carter Kopp on to face Eduardo Sainz. One away, runners on first and third here in the top of the 5th. Kopp looks around, sees what he's got on base. First pitch, up high, ball 1. Kopp last year with the Berries had a 3-2 record and a 4.40 earned run average. That's on the outside corner for a strike. Carter Kopp pitched before Saskatoon in 2022 with the Fort McMurray Giants. Pitched in 7 games, a couple of starts. That one is up the line at third base and down the line, a fair ball. Run comes in to score. Austin Gurney churning around third. He's heading for home, and he'll give Moose Jaw their first lead of the night on a double down the left field line by Eduardo Sainz. It is 6-5 now for the Miller Express. A double down the left field line just inside third base as Mason Rell dove and couldn't come up with the ball. Six runs on 6 hits in the ball game for the Miller Express. Jackson Yeager, the designated hitter, coming up now. Struck out in the 2nd inning, singled in the 4th. Drove in a run. First pitch swinging, fouled off, strike 1. On deck is Tanner DeGrazia. If he gets up, likely will. Moose Jaw have gone through the order. It's fouled off at the plate by Yeager. 2 strikes on him. The line is closed now on Michael Saul, his 4+ innings. 4 1/3 actually. Fouled off at the plate. Two strikes on Yeager still with that foul ball. Two-strike count upcoming again. Popped up. Shortstop Houston into shallow left field to make the catch. And there's 2 away. And Tanner DeGrazia coming up. Still at second base is Eduardo Sainz. After his 2-run double gave Moose Jaw the lead here in the top of the 5th inning. DeGrazia struck out in the 2nd inning, flew out to right in the 4th. Breaking pitch down low, ball 1. DeGrazia from Rochester, New York. coming off his junior year at Pomona College. Popped up again. First base in foul territory, and snaring it is Ethan Menard, and that is the end of the top of the 5th inning, but a big one for the Moose Jaw Miller Express. As they score 5 runs on 3 hits, there was 1 Saskatoon Berries error and 1 runner left on base. After 5, 4.5, as we're midway through, it is 6-5 for the Moose Jaw Miller Express over the Saskatoon Berries, as you're watching Berries baseball on FloCollege. So the big explosion for the Moose Jaw Miller Express in the top of the 5th inning, and suddenly it's Rodolfo Guardiola who's in a position to be a winning pitcher tonight if he can get through the 5th inning, and the Miller Express go on to win here in Saskatoon tonight. Guardiola will face Nathan Houston, Mason Rell, and Evan Janner, the 5, 6, 7 hitters for the Berries. Here in the bottom of the 5th, Guardiola has thrown unofficially 72 pitches, 27 of them back in the 4th inning when the Berries scored 3 runs. And the first pitch is in for strike 1 on Nathan Houston. One strike pitch coming. Houston lashes that one over the head of the shortstop Thomas Soto into left field. William Edwards, the center fielder, over to field it and throw it back into the infield, limiting Houston to a single, but that's the leadoff man on base. As again, there's action down the left field line in the Moose Jaw bullpen. This time it's number 24, Christian Garcia, who's warming up. Mason Rell up for the Berries. First pitch, breaking pitch in for a strike. Rell 0 for 2, a couple of groundouts. Houston, good speed at first. Down low, appeal at first, denied, 1-1 the count. Nathan Houston with 8 stolen bases. He actually got 10. Again, that game sheet that has been lost being fixed coming into play there. Throw over to first. Courtesy throw more so than anything else. Now Rell bounces this one up the middle. Taken by Soto. He touches the bag at second and on to first for a double play. That was a tailor-made double play for Thomas Soto. 2-hopper, and he was able to take the ball right at the bag and then throw over to first to complete the twin killing. And now there's nobody on base and 2 away for the Berries in the bottom of the 5th, and Evan Janner at the plate. Walked and scored in the 4th inning. On the ground towards second, it went past the diving Ben Wallachek into right field, and a base hit for Evan Janner. Berries have 9 hits in the game. Ethan Murdoch now up to the plate. He's been on twice, officially 0 for 0 at the plate. He was hit by a pitch in the second inning and walked in the fourth, and now we have Eric Marriott, the head coach, coming out. And are we getting a pitching change now with 2 away in the bottom of the 5th inning? Guardiola 1 out away from being in line for the pitching decision if the Berries make a 3rd out. And it is just a quick visit, telling Guardiola, yeah, you're fine. The pitch count up around 78 or so unofficially. Janner at first. He's got in the neighborhood of 10 stolen bases this season. So he's likely to go and try and get into scoring position if he's able to for Ethan Murdoch here with 2 away in the bottom of the 5th. Down low, ball 1. Guardiola has his pitch from the catcher. Breaking ball down low, 2-0. Berries behind at home, 6-5 in the bottom of the 5th inning. We haven't had that attachment very often at home, as the Berries are a perfect 14-0. There goes Janner running. The throw down to second base. They got him. Good throw by the catcher, Gustavo Soto, and a good tag applied by Ben Wallachek, the second baseman. Couple of hits for the Berries in the bottom of the 5th inning, but only 3 batters. A double play and a caught stealing. No errors by Moose Jaw. Nobody left on base. Through 5 complete. It's the Miller Express 6 and the Berries 5 as you're watching Saskatoon Berries baseball on FloCollege. Top of the 6th inning here at Next Gen Patch at Cairns Field. Moose Jaw 6, Saskatoon 5. Mentioned the Berries are 14-0 here at home this season. They've only had to bat in the bottom of the 9th inning once this year. That was an extra inning victory a while back. They also had an extra inning win in a doubleheader against Sylvan Lake. Bottom 3rd of the Moose Jaw order, just as it was last inning, coming up first against Carter Kopp this time. And Gustavo Soto looks at a first pitch strike. Kopp took over in the top of the 5th inning with 1 out. Glanced off of his pitching fingers and created a problem, which put him out of action for a while, and now he gets nailed in the leg with a comebacker by Gustavo Soto. And head coach Joe Carnahan out to check on him, along with athletic therapist Casey Marcinque. Kopp got a smile on his face, so might be okay. I think he's going to be given a chance to throw a couple of pitches and see how he feels. But that's an infield single for Gustavo Soto. A rocket of a one-hopper back to the mound and off the leg of Carter Kopp and into shallow right field. He says he's okay, so he will continue on. Dad Todd in the stands with some applause and words of encouragement, I'm sure. So up comes Pacey Phillips. Swinging bunt single back last inning. Was cut down at home on a fielder's choice. Kopp's first pitch to him is a strike. Pacey Phillips 1 for 2 in the ball game. Foul back to the screen, 0-2. Ben Wallachek, the second baseman, on deck for Moose Jaw. This one hit in the air, right center field. Coming across is Janner. He'll make the catch with Carter Beck right beside him. That's one away. Up comes Ben Wallachek, who walked and scored last inning, had a stolen base in there as well. He's officially 0 for 1, having struck out back in the third inning. First pitch swinging, lets a fly ball into shallow left field. Coming on is Jalen Freeman. He'll make the catch. And quickly 2 away now for Moose Jaw in the top of the 6th inning. So back to the top of the order for Thomas Soto. 0 for 2, but he walked and scored last inning for Moose Jaw. Part of that 5-run 5th inning that has them in the lead at 6-5. First pitch, breaking ball in for a strike. Again, Carter Kopp, one of 5 guys from Saskatoon on the roster. 1 strike pitch, foul towards the Barry's first base dugout. Quickly, Kopp is up 2 strikes. On Thomas Soto, the leadoff man for the Moose Jaw Miller Express. Gustavo Soto on first. Thomas Soto fouls it back. Stays alive at 2 strikes. Let's see. Thomas Soto is from Round Rock, Texas. Coming off his junior year at the University of Texas at Dallas. Gustavo Soto, as this is lined towards short and caught just off of the ground by Nathan Houston. And that's the 3rd out. I was going to say that Gustavo Soto and Thomas Soto are likely not related, or not brothers at least, because they're from 2 different places. Anyway, Gustavo Soto is left on first base. No runs, 1 hit, no Barry's errors, and 1 runner left on base. After 5.5, Saskatoon trails Moose Jaw by a score of 6-5 as you're watching Barry's baseball on FloCollege. So a new pitcher coming on. Oh. New pitcher into the ball game for Moose Jaw is Jacob Glazner, who started a game back on Saturday against the Energy City Cactus Rats in Spruce Grove, Alberta. Pitched just 2 innings. It was kind of like a bullpen game that night. Did not give up a run. 1 hit, struck out 2, walked 1, as the Miller Express beat Energy City that game by a score of 4-1. That's Glazner's only appearance so far this season. He's from Apache Junction, Arizona, coming off his sophomore year at College of the Desert. 6'2", 185-pound left-hander. Jacob Glazner in to pitch for Moose Jaw after 5 innings from Rodolfo Guardiola. Comes in with the Berries trailing the Moose Jaw Miller Express by a score of 6-5. Ethan Murdoch will be up. He was left standing at the plate when Evan Janner was caught stealing back in the 5th inning. Murdoch hit by a pitch in the 2nd inning, walked and scored in the 4th. Right-handed hitter facing a left-handed pitcher. Then Jamal Freeman will come up. And then the top of the order for Carter Beck. Let's see what Glazner brings to the table as a pitcher. First one down low, ball 1. Glazner ready to go with a 1-ball pitch. This one's lined into right field, base hit. Coming over as Murdoch is on his horse heading for second. The throw in there, and he's safe. That was a close play at second. Murdoch never hesitated coming around the first base bag as the ball was kind of in between the center fielder Edwards and the right fielder Tanner DeGrazia. It was DeGrazia who fielded the ball and made a strong throw into second base. Thomas Soto was there, slapped on the tag, but Murdoch was ruled to be in with a double. So a man on second with nobody out here in the bottom of the 6th inning for the Saskatoon Berries. And it's Jamal Freeman. Lefty pitch is a bouncing curveball and a good block by Gustavo Soto, keeping the ball in front of him, ball 1. Jalen Freeman is 1 for 2. Grounded out to short in the 2nd inning. Doubled. Drove in 2 runs in the 4th and then scored himself. And if I called him Jamal again, I apologize. I think I did. It's Jalen Freeman. Somewhere along the line, there's a Jamal Freeman in the world that I've got my head wrapped around. I got to stop that. As Jalen fouls it back to the screen, 1-1. My apologies to all in Houston, Texas. As Jalen's a good kid. I like him. He is full of energy. Lots of fun to talk to. Don't have a problem calling him Jalen when I talk to him face to face. Brain shuts off a little bit doing this. Check swing and appeal at third, and third base umpire and crew chief Aaron Roberts says no swing. 2 balls and a strike on Jalen Freeman with the top of the order, Carter Beck on deck. Left-handed pitcher facing lefty hitting Freeman and then lefty hitting Beck. For curveball stays up high. 3-1 the count. There's action again down the left field line and a side-arming delivery from Christian Garcia warming up. 3-1 pitch is down low, ball 4. So Freeman draws a free pass. 2 men on, nobody out. Carter Beck, the batter. Beck doubled, drove in a run back in the 4th inning, but was caught stealing, trying to take third base on a very short Ball that got away from Gustavo Soto in the home plate area. First and second with nobody out for the Berries in the bottom of the 6th. Looking to overcome the 1-run deficit. First pitch is a breaking ball in there for a strike. Beck with 5 home runs on the year. Again, 3 of them against Moose Jaw in a game on June 6th at Roswells Park. He'll reach out and poke one high in the air to left, shallow left field, and it'll be caught there by Pacey Phillips for the first out. So Beck's 1 for 4 now. Brings up Ethan Menard, 2 for 3, a couple of singles, scored a run, struck out his last time up against Rodolfo Guardiola, who's no longer in the ball game. Ethan Murdoch at second, Jalen Freeman at first. Menard cues it foul towards first base, didn't even get to the first base coaching box. That's a strike. 1 away. Freeman back into the right-hand batter's box. Jacob Glazner ready to go. Southpaw on the hill for the Moose Jaw Miller Express, who leads 6-5. Runners go. This is going to be thrown down to second base, but they're not going to be able to get Jalen Freeman heading to third and heading to second. Murdoch is on third, so the double steal executed by the Berries. But now Menard is down 0-2 in the count. On deck is Abiam Medina, also a left-handed hitter. The Berries' second baseman tonight. 0-2 pitch, fouled off at the plate. Good spoil by Menard. Stays alive in the count with 1 away. No action down the right field line in the Berries bullpen. Carter Kopp will come back out for the top of the 7th inning from all appearances. Meanwhile, 2-strike pitch from Glazner is down and in and blocked by the catcher Gustavo Soto. 1 ball, 2 strikes. One and 2 the count on Ethan Menard. 400 hitter for the Berries so far this year. Team leader in home runs with 7. Gets this one in the air, but not very deep. Out to play it is the shortstop. Now left fielder calls him off. Murdoch started and now gets back, and the throw over to third, and they'll call him safe. Moose Jaw contending that the throw over to third base caught Murdoch off the bag. Ben Wallachek, the second baseman, is extremely upset, and out comes Eric Marriott, the head coach, to talk things over with the second base umpire, who's out by second base and made the call. Blake Dilley as the third base umpire. Aaron Roberts, the crew chief, was out watching what was going on with the catch in left field. The conversation continues, and Eric Marriott is heading back. And now the 3 umpires are going to come together for a little discussion. The catch was made Murdoch started down the third base line about 10, 12 feet. The ball was cut off, and a safe call is maintained. So 2 away, still second and third for the Berries, with AB and Medina coming up. Medina's 0 for 2, walked his last time up. Left-handed hitting second baseman against lefty pitcher Jacob Glazner. Miller Express players need to compose themselves after that, as Medina flares one into left field, but Soto coming across, dives, makes the catch. Great defensive play by Thomas Soto to make the catch on the Medina loop down the left field side to retire the side. Berries don't score after getting runners on second and third with nobody out. 1 hit, no Moose Jaw errors, 2 runners left on base. And after 6 complete here at Next Gen Patch at Cairns Field, it's the Moose Jaw Miller Express 6 and the Saskatoon Berries 5. You're watching Berries baseball on FloCollege. For the Moose Jaw Miller Express, 6 runs on 7 hits. They've committed 2 errors, and they've left 4 runners on base. For the Saskatoon Berries, 5 runs on 10 hits. They've committed 1 error, and they've left 7 runners on base. Carter Kopp back out for the Saskatoon Berries, pitching tonight. In relief of starter Michael Saul, who had a very good opening couple of innings. 3 innings, in fact. Faced only 10 batters to get 9 outs. Then gave up a run in the 4th and 5 in the 5th. Carter Kopp has come on and pitched an inning and a 2/3, allowing a couple of hits, but no runs as of yet. Kopp to face William Edwards. And he takes a strike. First time Edwards is facing Kopp. The Aussie is 1 for 2 tonight. Stolen base and a run scored. Down low, 1-1. Austin Gurney, the first baseman. Eduardo Saenz, the third baseman, on deck. 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss on that change-up. To tip ball, according to home plate umpire Mark Clark. Caught by catcher Sorensen, 1 ball, 2 strikes. 1-2 pitch is fouled off down the first baseline. Edwards stays alive. He just basically poked the bat out and managed to make sure he stays in the count. 1-2 the count on William Edwards here in the top of the 7th. He hits this one foul, pulls it wide of third base, and that'll jump up over the fence and into the party patio down the third base side. Again, Kopp's 1-2. Edwards on the ground, fielded by Mason Rell. The throw to first is in time. and one away here in the top of the 7th inning. It'll bring up Austin Gurney, who's 2 for 3, a couple of singles and a couple of runs scored. He also drove in a run back in the 5th inning, the 5-run 5th. Starting to see some activity down the right field line in the Berries bullpen. Preliminaries towards getting a pitcher warmed up. Gurney slashes one, and this one will slice foul down the third base line, strike one. Turner Zdunich is warming up, just some stretching in. Utility player. That's inside on Gurney, 1-1. Zdunich out of High River, Alberta, coming off his freshman year at Colby Community College. This one's hit in the air, little looper that's going to find grass in left center field. Fielded by Jalen Freeman, and get the ball back in as Gurney made a big wide turn around first base. 8th hit of the night for Moose Jaw. They have a runner on with one away. Brings up the third baseman Eduardo Sainz, who was the first man to face Kopp when he came on in the top of the 5th inning, and sent a ground ball just inside the bag at third base for a double that brought home the tying and go-ahead runs in this game for Moose Jaw. Down low, ball 1 to him. Again, there is action down the left field line in the Moose Jaw bullpen. Not overly concerned just yet. Sainz a line drive into center. Beck coming on, makes the catch, and now guns it to first, but getting back to the bag is Austin Gurney, as the throw taken wide of the bag up towards home plate by Ethan Menard. Again for Moose Jaw, that is Christian Garcia warming up. 2 away with a runner on first for Moose Jaw here in the top of the 7th inning, and it's Jackson Yeager, who's 1 for 3 with a run batted in. Popped out against Carter Kopp his last time up, and that's fouled into the third base Moose Jaw dugout for strike 1. Berries will send up the middle third of their order in the bottom of the 7th inning. Balin Sorensen, Nathan Houston, and Mason Rell. Gurney on his way for second, but fouled off by Yeager. So 2 strikes, and Gurney has to return to first base. He does have 6 steals on the year. There's Pat Janix bringing some fresh baseballs to home plate umpire Mark Clark. Collecting them in the old mask and then getting that mask on with the ball secured in his little satchel there. 2-strike pitch, Gurney on the go, and again fouled off out of play. Yeager stays alive. We're in the top of the 7th inning. Moose Jaw 6, Saskatoon 5. Kopp trying to get the third out here. Get the Berries to the plate. Strike 3 called on Yeager, and that retires the side. First strikeout of the appearance for Carter Kopp. Moose Jaw doesn't score on the top of the 7th. They had 1 hit, no Berries errors, and 1 runner left on base. As we head to the 7th inning stretch here at Next Gen Patch at Cairns Field, it's the Moose Jaw Miller Express 6 and the Saskatoon Berries 5 as you're watching Berries baseball on FloCollege. So a new pitcher coming on in the bottom of the 7th inning for the Moose Jaw Miller Express. It'll be Christian Garcia out of Chandler, Arizona, coming off his sophomore year at College of the Desert. Christian Garcia will make his 10th appearance of the season out of the bullpen. He has a win, a couple of saves, a 4.02 earned run average. 15 2/3 innings pitched for Garcia. He's allowed 15 hits, 11 runs, 7 of them earned. Struck out 14 and walked 5. He has a 1-run lead. Not sure if he's going to be the one to try and get 9 outs here for Moose Jaw. He comes at you with a herky-jerky sidearm type of motion for a right-hander. It looks like he's going to come submarine down under with that delivery. But it comes more sidearm than submarine, so different look for the right-handed pitcher. You'll face 3 right-handed hitters here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Catcher Balin Sorensen, shortstop Nathan Houston, and third baseman Mason Rell. Sorensen 2 for 3. Doubled and scored in the 2nd inning, singled, and drove in a run in the 3rd. 6-5 Moose Jaw with the lead here at Next Gen Patch at Cairns Field. And a first pitch from Christian Garcia in for a strike. Check swing, not called, not granted, 1-1. As that was a breaking pitch outside. Still mostly cloudy over at the airport, a couple of kilometers to the north of here, 26 degrees Celsius. Southeast wind gusting to 41 kilometers per hour as Sorensen with a little breeze there with a swinging strike. 1-2. From Monroe, Louisiana, Balin Sorensen. Down low, 2-2. Two-two pitch hits him. Stayed inside on the catcher. He'll draw first base. The leadoff man is on for the Berries here in the bottom of the 7th inning. It's already the 5th time this season that Sorensen's been hit by a pitch. Ethan Murdoch also got hit for a 5th time earlier in the ball game. Nathan Houston 2 for 2 now. Couple of singles and a walk. Low and outside on that. The first delivery to him from Christian Garcia. Ball 1. Sorensen has 4 stolen bases. That pitch inside, 2-0. Bullpen catcher for Moose Jaw starting to head towards his spot down the left field line. That's out there for a strike. Outside corner, 2-1 on Nathan Houston. Again, he was with the Moose Jaw Miller Express last season. And as an affiliate player in 2023, this is a little looper hanging up there and will be caught by the second baseman, Wallachek. Ben Wallachek with the play. Houston's out. That's one away here in the bottom of the 7th inning. It'll bring up Mason Rell, the third baseman, who's 0 for 3, 3 ground ball outs. And that's in there for a strike. And on the inside corner with that sidearm delivery, a little bit of crossfire there, and 2 strikes on Rell. Quickly. Now Sorensen takes off. Meanwhile, this one's hit into center field. Back to make the catch is William Edwards, and hustling back to first base is Balin Sorensen. Rell made good contact, but it hung up just enough that the center fielder William Edwards able to make the catch for the second out. So it'll bring up the right fielder Evan Janner, the first left-handed hitter to face the right-handed pitching Christian Garcia. 2 away and Balin Sorensen on first. Janner, first pitch swinging, fouls it off. Strike 1. That one's ball 1. One and one the count on Janner. That's called strike 2. Janner kind of twisted out of the way trying to avoid, and that caught the inside corner up high. 1 and 2 in the count now on Evan Janner. Sorensen takes off. Janner swings and misses, strike 3, and that's the inning. Leadoff man gets on a hit batsman and cannot advance any further. No runs, no hits for the Berries. In the bottom of the 7th inning, no Moose Jaw errors, 1 runner left on base. After 7 complete, it's the Moose Jaw Miller Express 6 and the Saskatoon Berries 5 as you're watching Berries baseball on FloCollege. New pitcher into the ball game for the Saskatoon Berries. Utility man Turner Zdunich will get an opportunity to pitch. Coming off his freshman year at Colby Community College. From High River, Alberta, 6'2", 190-pound left-hander, Turner Zdunich. Has also played some first base, left field. Has been a DH at times for the Berries this year. Zdunich will make his 3rd appearance as a pitcher now. 2nd time out of the bullpen. Has no record, an ERA of 18 even, 2 innings pitched. He's allowed 3 hits, 4 runs, all earned, struck out 1 and walked 2. Turner Zdunich, here in the top of the 8th, will face right fielder Tanner DeGrazia, catcher Gustavo Soto, and left fielder Pacey Phillips. First pitch is a called strike at the knees. Zdunich is a lefty. On the ground towards 3rd, backhanded along the line by Rell. The throw to first, and Menard picks it, makes the catch, and upset is the base runner, saying that either he felt he bobbled it or had his foot off the bag. DeGrazia, though, is out with protest. 1 away. Gustavo Soto, or maybe he felt he beat it out. I didn't think so. But regardless of what I think or what DeGrazia thinks, it's one away as the first pitch to Gustavo Soto is a ball, down and in. And that one hits him. So Gustavo Soto takes the hit by pitch. He's on first with one away. Fourth time this season that Gustavo Soto has been hit by a pitch this season. So left-handed hitter Pacey Phillips is up for the fourth time tonight. He's 1 for 3. Singled in the fifth inning. Corroborates Saskatchewan product. And Zdunich with a toss over to first to check on Gustavo Soto. Pitch down and outside, ball one to Pacey Phillips. Berries only have 6 outs left to try and come back in this one. That's on the outside corner, strike one. Zdunich has pretty decent velocity. First time I've had a chance to see him pitch. His other 2 appearances have been on the road. 1-1, breaking pitch upstairs, 2-1. Second baseman Ben Wallachek is on deck. Gustavo Soto inching off at first with the lead. 2-1 pitch. This one's hit in the air down the left field side, slicing foul. 2-2 the count on Pacey Phillips. He'll come back to the batter's box. Carried his bat towards first base after that. I think he knew himself that that was probably going to be foul. Two and two the count. One away. Runner on first here in the top of the 8th inning for Moose Jaw. Zdunich with a throw over to first, and Gustavo Soto back in plenty of time. This one's lined into center field. He'll get down for a base hit. Fielded on a hop by Carter Beck, but Pacey Phillips has his second hit of the night, 2 for 4. Gustavo Soto up to second base. 2 men on, 1 out for Moose Jaw, and it's the number 9 hitter, the second baseman Ben Wallachek, coming up. Berries are back in action right here tomorrow night at Next Gen Patch at Cairns Field, taking on the Weyburn Beavers. Tonight is Game 5 of 11 straight in 11 days. Up and away, first pitch, ball 1 to Ben Wallachek. Berries then go to Moose Jaw Friday and come home, start a weekend home and home with Regina. Saturday here at 6 o'clock, and then Sunday back in Regina. Upstairs and outside again from Zdunich to Wallachek, 2-0. Top of the order, Thomas Soto on deck. And then the Berries come back home for 2 games next Monday and Tuesday against Moose Jaw to finish off that 11 games in 11 days stretch. 2-0 is on the inside corner to Wallachek, strike one. One away, runners on first and second. Menard playing on the edge of the infield grass, thinking Wallachek might try to bunt, but no, he doesn't. He slaps this one towards short. Houston bobbles it, flips to second for an out. A fielder's choice as Soto will advance to third, and Wallachek is on. 2 away. Unfortunate bad hop there on Nathan Houston. If he fields that cleanly, a good chance there's a double play and out of the inning, but now instead it's Thomas Soto, who is obviously a switch hitter because now he's going to hit right-handed. Against the lefty pitcher Zdunich. First one is inside to Thomas Soto. Ball one. Soto's 0 for 3. Walked and scored a run, though, in the 5-run Moose Jaw 5th inning. Check on the runner, Wallachek at first base. Yeah, Soto's the switch hitter, it says. First and third, taking off is Wallachek, called strike. They'll let him take the base. So Wallachek now on second. And 1-1 the count on Thomas Soto. Runners at second and third. 2 away. They'll foul that one off. Zdunich up 1-2 on Thomas Soto here. Chance to get out of the inning. Barry's in the bottom of the 8th. We'll have Ethan Murdoch, Jalen Freeman, and top of the order Carter Beck coming up. Up high, 2-2 on Thomas Soto. This is a key out to get for the Berries. They do not want to fall behind by more than the 1 run that they are right now, with only 6 outs to work with. 2-2 pitch is on the ground towards third. Rell can't come up with it cleanly. And in to score is Gustavo Soto. Wallachek ends up on third, and Thomas Soto is on an error to the third baseman, Mason Rell. So it's 7-5 now for the Moose Jaw Miller Express. And it'll bring up the center fielder, William Edwards. First and third with 2 away, 1 run in. Thomas Soto is probably guaranteed to go, and Zdunich with a check on him at first base. Thomas Soto with 7 stolen bases on the year. This one's hit along the ground. Rell up with it on to second for the force out to get the Berries out of the inning. However, Moose Jaw scores a run, and it's a big one, an insurance run to give them a 7-5 lead. A run on 1 hit. There was 1 Saskatoon Berries error and 2 runners left on base. After 7.5, it is Moose Jaw 7, Saskatoon 5. You're watching Berries baseball on FloCollege. So it's the bottom of the 8th inning here at Next Gen Patch at Cairns Field. 7-5 now, the Moose Jaw Miller Express with a lead on the Saskatoon Berries. Their 14-0 perfect record at home here at Cairns Field in jeopardy, as they only have 6 outs to work with. It'll be the numbers 8 and 9 hitters, Ethan Murdoch, the designated hitter, and the left fielder, Jalen Freeman, and then the top of the order, Carter Beck, to face Christian Garcia, who's on for a 2nd inning of work. Meanwhile, down the left field line, there is action for Moose Jaw. That looks like 33, Nathan Pizzio, who's a Moose Jaw kid, might be coming on to pitch. Swing and a miss at the first offering from Garcia. Strike one on Murdoch. Live fly ball into left field. Drifting back is Pacey Phillips. Short of the warning track, he'll make the catch, one away. So now Jamal Freeman, who's 1 for 2 with a run scored, walked and stole a base. Garcia delivers a pitch on the outside corner. Strike one to Freeman. Key thing here now for Moose Jaw pitchers is to get strike one. Down low, 1-1. One pitch on the ground between first and second and into right field for a base hit. Wallachek dives in vain to try and field that, and Jamal Freeman is on base with his second hit of the night. And Carter Beck coming to the plate. And here comes head coach Eric Marriott out to chat with Christian Garcia. And we are going to get a pitching change. With Beck coming up, that's the end of the line for Christian Garcia. And I believe this will be 33, Nathan Piscio. He was the one who was warming up down the left field line. And it is indeed 33, Piscio. Piscio from Moose Jaw. Went to Central Collegiate in Moose Jaw. 5'11", 165-pound right-hander. He's making his 8th appearance out of the bullpen, has 3 wins and a save and a .75 earned run average. So Piscio has been very good out of the bullpen for Moose Jaw. 12 innings pitched. He's allowed 5 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned, 15 strikeouts, and 3 walks. Impressive stuff so far this season from Nathan Piscio. And on to face Carter Beck here in the bottom of the 8th inning with 1 out and a man on. Beck is 1 for 4 tonight. Doubled and drove in a run in the 4th inning. And Ethan Menard on deck after him. So the Berries have the right men coming up here in the hopes of trying to dig into that Moose Jaw lead. With Beck close to being a 400 hitter and Menard at and above 400 so far this season. So here we are, Carter Beck up at the plate. Runner on first and Freeman. Nathan Piscio, the new pitcher, on for Moose Jaw, a 2-run lead. Freeman thought about going, didn't. The first pitch inside to Carter Beck, ball 1. Freeman bluffed, took 2 or 3 steps towards second and put on the brakes. Piscio holding the ball a little longer. That one's down and inside, ball 2. 2-0. Good hitters count here for Carter Beck. Piscio will probably need to come in with something. On the ground towards short, fielded by Soto, touches second for one, on to first, double play, and that ends the inning. Beck made contact, but hit it right at the shortstop, Soto, who was moving towards the bag at second. Touches second base for the second out, and then on to first in plenty of time for the third out. No runs, one hit. No Moose Jaw errors, nobody left on base. That's a couple of double plays that Thomas Soto has started tonight on behalf of the Moose Jaw Miller Express as they have a 7-5 lead heading to the top of the ninth inning. You're watching Barrie's baseball on FloCollege. Top of the ninth inning coming up here from Next Gen Patch at Cairns Field. 1,593 the announced attendance tonight. Gorgeous night for baseball. The rain has held off. It's kind of skirted us again from the looks of the radar. Turner Zadunich back out on the mound for the Berries. Yeah. There's clouds in the area. There's rain in the area, but nothing that is touched here at Next Gen Patch at Cairns Field. They're saying that we're going to get rain starting in 29 minutes, according to the AccuWeather radar. We'll see if we can get the ball game done by then. Meat of the order, though, for Moose Jaw here in the top of the ninth. Hitters 3, 4, and 5 against lefty Turner Zadunich, whose first pitch to left-handed hitting Austin Gurney is outside, ball one. Gurney's 3 for 4. A couple of runs scored and an RBI. Check swing is in there for a strike, according to home plate umpire Mark Clark. Eduardo signs the third baseman, DH Jackson Yeager, guaranteed to hit for Moose Jaw here in the top of the ninth. Zadunich with a breaking pitch down and away, ball 2, 2-1. Nobody up throwing in the right field bullpen for the Berries, so this is Zadunich's inning to get through. Nobody throwing down the left field line in the Moose Jaw bullpen. Nathan Pizzio is going to be the guy coming back out as there's a breaking pitch in for a strike. Why not Pizzio? He's got a save. Got a few wins in relief. Hometown Moose Jaw boy looking to spoil the party here. Gurney sends one up the first base line, but foul. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Moose Jaw 12-15 on the season coming into tonight. Zadunich shakes off a sign from Palin Sorensen, his catcher. Now delivers and was behind Gurney with that pitch. It's a full count. Didn't hit him somehow. Elsewhere out of town, bottom of the 8th, Okotoks leads Brooks 8-2. Regina won the first game of a double dip in Swift Current 9-0 and lead the second game in the bottom of the second 4-0. Sylvan Lake bounces Medicine Hat tonight, 9-1 a final. And ball 4 from Zadunich to Austin Gurney, who's on base for a 4th time tonight and leads off the top of the 9th inning. So Eduardo Sainz coming up. This will be just the second time this season at home that the Berries will come to bat in the bottom of the 9th inning. Down low with a breaking pitch to Sainz, ball 1. 7-5, Moose Jaw with the lead. And they're batting. Runner on first. Nobody out. Sainz hits one sky high in the infield. And out into shallow right. Coming on. And unable to make the catch is Nevin Janner. The throw to second. And it's by the second baseman. Backed up by Mason Rell. Janner coming in, called off the second baseman Medina, and then didn't make the catch. The ball fell in, and everybody is safe. Gurney up to second. Sainz at first, with what I would imagine would be an error on the right fielder. So nobody out, and runners on first and second for Moose Jaw. Berry's third error of the ball game. Jackson Yeager, the DH, now up. He's 1 for 4. Corner infielders looking for a possible sacrifice. First pitch down and in, ball 1. Yeager has a couple of sacrifice flies, but no sacrifice hits. Swings and fouls off a pitch, off of Sorensen. Actually, off, maybe I've been off of the umpire too. 1-1 the count. Catcher right fielder Tanner DeGrazia is on deck for the Miller Express here in the top of the 9th inning. The 2-1 pitch is in there for a strike. Breaking pitch up high in the zone. 1-2 the count, sorry. Zadunich asks for the signs to be flashed again by Balin Sorensen. Has what he wants. 1-2 delivery. And that one's fouled up out of play on a breaking ball. Count remains 1-2 on Jackson Yeager. Flag's pretty much hanging straight down now at top of the scoreboard in right field here at Next Gen Patch at Cairns Field. 1-2 offering is hit in the air, deep but way foul into the parking lot on the left field side. So the count stays 1-2 on Jackson Yeager, who has the power. He's got 4 home runs. He leads the Miller Express in that department. Also has 25 RBI, second behind Austin Gurney. 1-2 the count on Yeager. Zadunich, fastball, and fouled off again. 3 straight foul offs by Yeager with the count at 1-2. Battling Turner Zadunich, and now down the right field line we see Colin Plain starting to loosen up if Joe Carnahan needs him. 1-2 line shot, caught by Rell. The throw to second, they got him. They double off Gurney at second base, and quickly 2 away. Sainz holds it first, but a double play there and a big one for the Saskatoon Berries. As now 2 away in the top of the 9th, and up comes Tanner DeGrazia, the right fielder who's 0 for 4. First pitch from Turner Zadunich is in for a strike. DeGrazia was the first man to face Zadunich in this appearance back in the top of the 8th inning. One strike is down low. They ask for an appeal and give him a strike. Sorensen blocked the ball in the dirt, picked it up, and then checked with first base umpire Blake Tilley and granted the appeal for a strike on the swing, the check swing attempt by DeGrazia, who now has a two-strike pitch and now will loft one towards short, and it's caught by Nathan Houston, and that's the inning. No runs, no hits, one Saskatoon error, and one runner left on base. Bottom of the ninth. Berries are down 7-5 to Moose Jaw. You're watching Berries baseball on FloCollege. Bottom of the ninth inning. Last chance hotel for the Saskatoon Berries, trailing by 2 to the Moose Jaw Miller Express. Moose Jaw, who defeated the Berries in the Eastern Division Final last year in 3 games before losing to Okotoks in the league final, looking to be the team that breaks up the Berries' perfect record at home this season. Fans trying to cheer and get the Berries going, get the bats going. They've gone a little silent here. They last scored in the 4th, 4 innings of not being able to score. The Moose Jaw bullpen doing the job as Nathan Piscio's first pitch is a called strike on Ethan Menard. Menard is 2 for 4. Singled his first 2 times up, scored a run as well. Nathan Piscio delivers. Foul back to the screen, and Menard is quickly in the hole, 0-2. Crowd trying to get into it. Couple of the male fans in behind home plate yelling out, "Let's go Berries." You can hear them all over the place. 2 strikes. That was up high, I guess. 1-2. That looked pretty good. Good eye from Ethan Menard, obviously, to take that. 1-2 the count on Ethan Menard. And catcher Gustavo Soto thought he had the inside corner for strike 3. Home plate umpire Mark Clark disagrees. Soto popped out from behind the plate ready to throw the ball to third base. Instead, 2-2 the count now on Menard. Nathan Piscio from Moose Jaw throws a good fastball. Here he comes 2-2. Down low, full count. And now the fans are starting to get into it. Cheering with every ball. They're looking for a rally here. 3-2. Down low, ball 4. Menard rallies from an 0-2 count to draw a first pitch walk, or a leadoff walk, I should say. And it'll bring up the second baseman, Abiam Medina, who's 0 for 3 with a walk. Menard at first, Medina at the plate. First pitch breaking ball is down low and possibly inside, ball one. Moose Jaw have been very good defensively tonight. They have turned 3 double plays in this game. As catcher Gustavo Soto out to talk with pitcher Nathan Piscio. Some fans stomping on the bleachers, trying to make noise, trying to throw off the Miller Express. 1-0 pitch, foul back to the screen by Medina, 1-1. Balin Sorensen, the catcher, on deck. Nathan Houston in the hole. 7-5, Moose Jaw leads here in the bottom of the ninth. 1-1 pitch from Piscio is fouled back to the screen again by Medina, 1-2. Houston will hustle over and retrieve the foul ball. And now everybody's set and ready to go again. Menard takes off for second. Medina slaps one into left field. Menard around second, heading for third. He'll get there with a slide, and Abiam Medina with an opposite field single on a run and hit. Menard to third, 2 men on, and nobody out. Here in the bottom of the ninth inning with Balin Sorensen coming to the plate. Sorensen 2 for 3, doubled, and scored a run in the second. Single drove in a run in the third. Was hit by a pitch in the 7th inning. Now we have a pinch runner into the game for Abiam Medina. It'll be number 3, Nomar Prieto. Who could come into the game and play defensively if we end up going to the top of the 10th inning. First pitch, though, to Sorensen is a strike. First and third with one away, with nobody out, I should say. Here in the bottom of the ninth, Balin Sorensen at the plate. Piscio, pitch, in there for strike 2. Nathan Houston on deck. 2 for 3 against his former team tonight. Piscio with a 2-strike pitch. Up and away, ball 1. Couldn't get Sorensen to chase. Tying run on first. Winning run is at the plate for the Berries here in the bottom of the ninth inning. 1-2, hit in the air, right field, settling under it, and making the catch is DeGrazia. In to score is Menard, and it's a 1-run game at 7-6. Sacrifice fly for Balin Sorensen, his second RBI of the night. But now there's one away. And Nomar Prieto is the runner at first base. Nathan Houston coming up. 2 for 3. Couple of singles. Also walked in the game. Prieto takes off for second. Here's the throw. It's way off into center field. And Prieto is on his way to third. Gustavo Soto's throw sails into center, and so now the tying run is 90 feet away from home plate. Stolen base and a throwing error on a first pitch ball to Nathan Houston. And now the infield is in. Up high, 2-0. Mason Rell, the third baseman, on deck. Two-0 pitch, lined into right field, caught, but now heading for home is Prieto. Here's the throw home, and safe, as a catcher Soto could not come up with the ball, run into by the base runner Prieto, and Soto is hurt. Now they're going to appeal at third and say, no, it was fine. He left after the catch was made. So we're tied up at 7-7. Meanwhile, some concern for Moose Jaw as catcher Gustavo Soto collided with by the base runner Prieto, who scored. That's a sacrifice fly for Nathan Houston. A line shot and a good defensive play in right field by Tanner DeGrazia, as now Mason Rell, the third baseman, comes up with two away and nobody out. And two away and nobody on base. Rell is 0 for 4 tonight. 7-7 the score. Berries have rallied here, and now Pizzio wants the catcher Gustavo Soto to come out and chat as to how they're going to approach this at-bat. Down the right field line, the Berries have action in the bullpen. That's Colin Plain who's up and throwing. PA says, let's go Berries. Fans say, let's go Berries. They have rallied to tie it up in the bottom of the ninth. And a first pitch strike to Mason Rell. Indiana State product coming off his freshman year. Came into the game hitting .338 unofficially. One strike pitch is in for strike two, even though it popped out of the glove of the catcher. So Pizzio one pitch away from getting out of the inning, but he gives up two for sure. And the Berries hoping to keep this one going. Two strikes. Swing and a miss, strike three, and that's the end of the ninth. But the Berries rally with 2 runs on 1 hit. There was a walk and a couple of sacrifice flies. Nobody left on base, no Moose Jaw errors. We've played 9. We're heading for extras at Next Gen Patch at Cairns Field, tied up at 7-7. As you're watching Berries baseball on FloCollege. So for the third time this season, the Saskatoon Berries go to extra innings. All here at Next Gen Patch at Cairns Field. They've won both of those games. As we're tied up at 7-7, and there's a pitching change for the Berries. Colin Plain out of Saskatoon via Arizona Christian University, coming off his sophomore year, out to pitch the top of the 10th. For Colin Plain, This will be his 4th appearance of the season. No decisions, no saves, an earned run average of 3.37. He's only thrown 2 2/3 innings. Allowed 2 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned, struck out 3 and walked 2. Plain is 6'2", 220 pounds. And Nomar Prieto. Well, no, it's Cooper Westland's in the game. So Westland takes over at second base. After Prieto ran for Abian Medina, Cooper Westland into the game to play second. At second base is the courtesy runner for Moose Jaw, who made the last out in the previous inning. That's Tanner DeGrazia. And a bunt attempt up the third base line is foul, as Moose Jaw has sent a pinch hitter up in place of Gustavo Soto. That's Jackson Martin who's hitting. One strike, the count on Martin. Shows bunt again. The throw down to second, and hustling back to the bag is DeGrazia. 2 strikes the count, though, on Jackson Martin. Martin at the plate, hitting .206. He's an outfielder normally, 7 for 34. He has 9 runs batted in, though. Two-strike pitch, curveball called strike 3. So unable to get the bunt down was Jackson Martin. Now it's Pacey Phillips coming up. Phillips is 2 for 4, a couple of singles. First pitch from Plain is outside, ball 1. We're past the 3-hour mark now in this ball game, just after 10 o'clock. Extra innings will do that. DeGrazia, the runner at second. 1 away. Pacey Phillips. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Still a gorgeous night in Saskatoon. 24 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy skies. Southeast wind gusting to 40 kilometers per hour. Although you'd never know it from the flags atop the scoreboard in right field. 1-1 pitch. Plain now steps off and checks on the runner at second. Concerned about DeGrazia maybe taking off for third. Could see that being a possibility. Try to get him down to third base and 90 feet from scoring a go-ahead run, possibly. Colin Plains, 1-1 pitch upcoming to Pacey Phillips. Breaking ball is in for strike 2, and Phillips doesn't like the call. Both sides have been unhappy with the strike zone of Mark Clark tonight. I think, if anything, he has been consistent with what he's called. Now, Plain wants Sorensen to come out to a chat. Phillips chokes up on that bat a fair amount. And now everybody, infielders included, in for the visit at the mound. Making sure everybody knows what's going to happen, no matter the situation. If a ball's hit to who, where are they going with the ball, etc. So now that's all squared away. Colin Plain has a 1-2 count on Pacey Phillips. Top of the 10th, 7-7. Pitch hit on the ground. Menard will field it, throw on to first. Plain will tag the bag in time for the second out as DeGrazia comes over to third. 2 away, and it's the number 9 hitter, the second baseman, Ben Wallachek, who's 0 for 3 tonight, walked and scored in the 5th inning and has a couple of stolen bases. DeGrazia is on third with 2 away. For the Berries, Mason Rell will start the 10th inning as the courtesy runner, and it's the bottom third of the order: Evan Janner, Ethan Murdoch, and Jalen Freeman. Plains' first pitch to Wallachek is a breaking pitch in for a strike. Well, again, lightning being seen out to the east. There it is again. But that's long gone from here. We don't have to worry about that. If it was in behind us, then there'd be something to worry about. Up high, ball 1, 1-1. Ben Wallachek at the plate for Moose Jaw with a runner on third and 2 away. Colin Plain, 4th pitcher of the night for the Berries. That one's down and away, 2-1. Top of the order, Thomas Soto is on deck if he gets the opportunity. Bad news about Soto. He's 0 for so far tonight. 2-1 pitch. Swung on and missed. Strike 2. Two the count. 2 outs. Top of the 10th inning. 7-7 score. Courtesy runner for Moose Jaws now on third base. Colin Plain ready to deliver. And that's outside with a breaking pitch and a full count. Are you not entertained? That's all I would have to say. 2 division rivals battling. 3-2 pitch is down low, ball 4. So Wallachek draws first and third with 2 away. And now up comes the shortstop, the dangerous Thomas Soto, a good hitter coming into the game at .316, but 0 for 4 tonight. Walked and scored a run in the 5th inning. Reached on an error in the 8th that brought in the 7th Moose Jaw run that seemed to give them a lead. Wallachek at first liable to take off. There he goes. First pitch going. First pitch in for a strike. They don't throw down. So now Wallachek on second. There's no force play. It's Plain against Soto with 2 away here in the top of the 10th. Colin Plain gets his signal from Balin Sorensen. DeGrazia on third. Wallachek at second. Soto showed bunt. And they'll appeal. And now they're going to call it strike 2, and Soto can't believe it. 2 strikes the count on Thomas Soto, who's upset. Makes you wonder if he thought he may have touched that ball and fouled it off because it ended up hitting the ground. Now, 1 ball, 1 strike. Okay. 1-1 the count. Home plate umpire Mark Clark. And now the Berries have a concern. The first pitch was a strike. If he called that one a strike, it should be 0-2. And now Joe Carnahan's going to escort home plate umpire Mark Clark out to the third base umpire, Aaron Roberts, the crew chief, and say, okay, what was the first pitch? And if that one was a strike, what's the count? That's a quick discussion. And let's see what we get. Because we'll get an indication from the home plate umpire right away here. It is 0-2. Okay. I think the umpire just lost count of what the count was, and now the Moose Jaw head coach wants an explanation. Eric Marriott. Mark Clark says, hey, I knew it was one strike on the first pitch. I called another strike there, and I lost count of what it was. Basically what it is. The umpires are human, but Marriott is really chewing them out here right now. Upset that the fact that Joe Carnahan and Balin Sorensen were able to get in his ear, essentially, and now he's trying to have his say and see if he can't get the count reversed again. It's not happening. It's a 2-strike count on Thomas Soto with 2 away here in the top of the 10th inning, and runners on second and third for the Miller Express. So here we go after a little bit of a delay over what the count was. Plain delivers outside 1-2. Says Colin's favorite time of day is midnight. Well, it's not quite midnight, but this is a big time occasion for him here with a 1-2 count on Soto. Outside with a breaking pitch, now 2-2. You can cut the tension with the proverbial knife right about now. 2-2, 2 away, top of the 10th inning, 7-7. Berries and Moose Jaw. The pitch fouled off. Hanging in there is hanging in there at 2-2 is Thomas Soto. Colin Plain ready to go again. Soto ready at the dish. 2-2 pitch. Hit in the air. Right field. Coming on. Janner makes the catch to end the inning. No runs. No hits. No Berries errors. 2 runners left on base for Moose Jaw in the top of the 10th. The Berries will get a runner on second to start the bottom of the 10th inning and a chance to walk it off here on this Wednesday evening. Nathan Pissio is back out for the bottom of the 10th. We're tied 7-7 as you're watching Berries baseball on FloCollege. So bottom of the 10th inning, a defensive change for the Moose Jaw Miller Express. Evan Derringer into the game to catch after Gustavo Soto was injured on the tying run back in the bottom of the 9th inning and was pinch hit for by Jackson Martin. So now Derringer into the game and will be in the 7th spot in the order for Moose Jaw. At second base for the Berries is Mason Rell. And the bottom third of the Saskatoon order, Evan Janner, Ethan Murdoch, and Jalen Freeman due up with Nathan Pizzio on to pitch again. First pitch down low, ball one to Janner. The courtesy runner is Mason Rell at second. Swung on, hit into left center field. That's going to fall. Mason Rell's going to come around and score the winning run. 15-0 at home as the Berries rally from 2 runs down in the bottom of the 9th, tie it up and win it in the bottom of the 10th. Evan Janner with the base hit, scoring Mason Rell from second base for the victory. 8-7. Saskatoon wins tonight over the Moose Jaw Miller Express. We'll come back with the final totals in a moment. But the Berries are 15-0 at home, 24-3 overall, and they've won all 3 head-to-head meetings this season with the Moose Jaw Miller Express. You're watching Berries baseball on FloCollege. Quite the comeback for the Saskatoon Berries on home diamond in order to stay perfect here at this facility. Down 7-5 going to the bottom of the 9th. The Berries scored twice on a pair of sacrifice flies and then held Moose Jaw at bay with runners on second and third. Got the outs they needed, and then in the bottom of the 10th, with courtesy runner Mason Rell on second base to start the inning, Evan Janner delivers a solid base hit to left center field to bring him home with the winning run. And it's an 8-7, 10-inning victory for the Saskatoon Berries over the Moose Jaw Miller Express. Your final totals for this game tonight, just give me a second while I'm still trying to tally them up here. All right, for the Saskatoon Berries, 8 runs on 12 hits. I believe it's 12 hits. Let me just make sure here. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 10, 11. Actually, it's 13 hits. 8 runs on 13 hits. They committed 3 errors and left 9 runners on base. For the Moose Jaw Miller Express, 7 runs on 9 hits. They committed 2 errors. They left 10 runners on base. The winning pitcher for the Berries is Colin Plain in relief. First decision of the year for him. The losing pitcher for the Moose Jaw Miller Express is Nathan Pizzio. His record is 3-1 now. The Berries, with the victory, improved to 24 wins and 3 losses for the year. They have a season-high 9-game winning streak as a result. 15-0 at home, 3-0 head-to-head against Moose Jaw. The Miller Express dropped to 12-16. Back-to-back losses for them now. They are 7-9 on the road and 0-3 head-to-head against the Saskatoon Berries. 1,593 the attendance tonight to see a thriller, a dramatic type of thriller here. in a game that took 3 hours and 15 minutes to play. 8-7 in 10 innings for the Berries over the Moose Jaw Miller Express. Berries are back in action at home tomorrow night. We'll have it for you here on FloCollege when they play host to the Weyburn Beavers. Here with you, we've got that webcast going at 7 o'clock. Until then, on behalf of all the folks at Flo Sports, FloCollege, all the folks involved with the Saskatoon Berries, I'm Les Lazarick. Hope you enjoyed this one tonight. We'll try and do it all over again tomorrow when Weyburn is here, as you've been watching Saskatoon Berries baseball on FloCollege.